Hey guys. So I like when I get Zelda comments on the videos. So this is a comment on my timeline placement makes no sense. So Gilbert Gilberto Morales says, even as a sequel to Breath of the Wild, it makes no sense. The divine beasts are missing in the game, along with any ancient Sheikah tech. Even the resurrection room doesn't exist. There's just a cave there where it used to be. You can go there in Tears of the Kingdom, and I can't remember what you get there. You do get something for going there. I can't remember if I think it's like a Yiga schematic or there a bubble frog there. I can't remember which, but yeah, you can go to Shrine of Resurrection. There's like vines in front of it and stuff like that. But yeah, like the actual tech that was there, not there. Kind of weird. Cave where it used to be. The purpose of the divine beast was to defeat Calamity Ganon, which is now apparently a different Ganon. When the Calamity was supposed to be the manifestation of Demise's hatred, giving up on resurrection, which was actually a mistranslation. The original Japanese, it actually says something different. So where the hell does Ganondorf fit into this when he's Demise's reincarnation? So if he is, what is Calamity Ganon, which has existed for millennia? Tears of the Kingdom doesn't just retcon the series; it retcons its prequel. So I was actually looking up about Calamity Ganon, and it says, without spoilers, how is Ganondorf sealed when Calamity was in Breath of the Wild? So we can see maybe if people have. I don't get it. If Ganondorf was sealed in the opening of Tears, how can Calamity Ganon come to be? Is it explained in the game, or am I an idiot? I would think if Ganondorf was sealed and unable to act, how did the Calamity Ganon try to push out of Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild might as well have never happened out with how little this game references it. The best guess is that Calamity Ganon was just Ganondorf's evil residue juice, residual evil juice leaking out, manifesting as its own entity and acting on its own accord. Ganondorf never seems to acknowledge or even be aware of Calamity's existence. I took Calamity Ganon as just Ganondorf's evil energy coagulating and acting as a phantom puppet of himself. Kind of like what we see in the final battle. And then we see... so basically, it's like the Ganondorf we see, or the Ganon, or the first in the fight, we see like this giant Ganondorf looking thing with the beard and the hair, and he's mixed with like ancient Sheikah tech and stuff like that. But it's not any like it's not really a physical thing. It's still just a manifestation of hatred and malice. And then we beat that part, and then we finally see like Ganon, like Dark Beast Ganon, which is also made of malice. And up until that point, he had just been kind of like free-forming. You see him when he's going around the castle. He has that Ganon look to him, but like when he roars or whatever, you see his mouth like flap all the way open because he's not a solid being. He's just comprised of malice and hatred, and it's taking a form, but he's not quite solid yet. But we see him at the very end of the game, and he's now has a physical form which can step on us, we can hurt. Funny thing was, it was actually a mistranslation. I think the Japanese line said something about the opposite, that he hasn't given up on reincarnation. The reference JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Think of Calamity Ganon. Uh-huh. Or any of the Malice stuff as Notorious B.I.G. stand. Even if its user's master is dead, it still acts on its own to kill. Somehow I gotta work in a JoJo reference. Feel like it's fairly obvious. The Calamity Ganon was stated multiple times was malice manifested, so the dude just being sealed underground that was so full of hatred, it was plaguing the world for thousands of years. They've been fighting a concept, basically a phantom Ganon. Long story short, Calamity Ganon was basically Ganondorf's Heartless. I mean, kinda is. Just a sentient mass of anger and rage that was spawned from Ganondorf's emotions. I mean, it's kind of true when you think about it. That's kind of what he looks like, was a giant heartless. That was the case. I wonder what... Oh, there we go. I would love to see fan art of a person's interpretation of what Ganondorf's heartless and nobody would look like. That would be amazing. We know their nobody is pretty much what they look like, just some kind of alterations. But their heartless is usually some like massive creature, and depending on how powerful the person is. But then again, Sora became a heartless, and he was just a regular shadow heartless. So his heart's incredibly powerful, and he's powerful, but yet he became the most basic heartless. So, but yeah, I would love to see someone's interpretation of that. So, any artists out there, if you guys can draw Ganondorf for me as a heartless and nobody, that'd be awesome. But okay, so let me answer the divine beasts. So I explained to someone because they were asking about it, and I kind of see it that until they're needed, they're kind of like the Zords and Power Rangers. You know, you won't see them wandering around for the most part. They do have hiding places. We see Varuda rising up out of the water, so we know that Varuda can go. That Zora's domain, the water there is deep enough for this freaking massive divine beast to be there. You know, you have one flying in the skies. You have another Death Mountain. Although Va Naboris, the giant camel, you could see it from like a mile away, but you know, there's probably so many places underground that we haven't visited. One of them might be the hiding place, because again, like I said, I kind of see it as like the Zords. You don't see these Zords roaming around and out in places where people are. No, they have hiding places. But as for like the shrines and stuff, I mean, I look how many shrines there were. I don't see the Sheikah going around like, okay, boys, time to dismantle these. Considering there might be another hero in the future who may need them, I don't see them dismantling all of them and taking them away. And if they were taken, there should still be some remnant of them being there. But as for Ganondorf and Divine, and Calamity Ganon, I mean, they're trying to make it to where it was just his malice and his hatred leaking out. But then we see this, where we see what looks to be malice, but it's very dusty. You know, it's very... Basically, it just floats up and dissipates. So I don't see how enough of that would make it up to the surface to create Calamity Ganon. Rauru, even though Rauru is nothing but an arm now, he's still doing pretty good holding this stuff in check. You notice in this scene, when as soon as it falls down, that's when it kind of starts to bubble up, and then it just goes crazy and all over the place. But I think they're still just trying to allude that Calamity Ganon is kind of like a puppet, a phantom version of this Ganondorf, kind of acting on its own free will. Because you know, this Ganondorf, again, it's the person said this Ganondorf made no mention of being Calamity Ganon or, oh, my last plan failed. He doesn't even seem like Calamity Ganon, you know, is even registers to him. So, but he's mummified, so I don't think he had any mind power of his own. He didn't have any functionality in his brain. So the malice just kind of formed and acted on a will of its own. And we kind of see that with the puppets and the shadows that he creates. He's giving life to these things, and while yes, they are extensions of him, they do have their own free will to do as they see fit. And we see with Puppet, or Phantom Ganon, not only in this game but in other games, They do have a mind of their own. They are able to act on their own free will. Of course, they are punished should they fail, as we see with Phantom Ganon in Ocarina of Time. He loses against Link, so therefore he's banished. So it's kind of like a puppet Zelda. She's a puppet. She outward is called a puppet of Ganondorf, and we see her disappear and into this malicey, smoke, gloomy type thing. So she's a puppet created by Ganondorf. But you can see she has thoughts, she has her own personality, she has a free will. While yes, she serves Ganondorf, she can plan things herself. So, and I think that kind of just shows why Calamity Ganon was so mindless, because Ganondorf was not in control. Had he been in control the whole time, Calamity Ganon probably would have been a lot more deadly. But you can see what happens when Ganondorf is in control of his creations. They're a lot stronger. You see the Phantom Ganons that you have to fight all over the place after you defeat the Gloom Hands, which completely are terrifying. They just come out of nowhere. Just some dazzle fruit and some, bomb flowers do the trick. Also, shock fruits seem to be really good, because you hit that right in the middle, or hit 3 of them at a time with one of the bows, and just poof, they're all like, ugh! Then nice little shot there with a bomb arrow, and they're like, ugh! And then Phantom Ganon pops up, but we see how deadly his malice and these puppets and whatever can be when he's in control. Calamity Ganon, again, I think is somehow what we're seeing from here. It's just he was so mindless and not all there because Ganondorf wasn't all there. He had no control at all. It just kind of formed. It was just together. It formed, and it became like this mindless beast. And we've seen Ganon as a mindless beast before. In Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Twin Rova tried to resurrect him using Zelda, and obviously we rescue her. Twin Rova, in desperation to resurrect him, sacrifice themselves, and instead of coming back as the very smart, tactical Ganon, he comes back as this brainless, mindless beast who has no real thought. He's incredibly strong, but he has no thoughts. He's just this wild animal that just is attacking on pure instinct. And so we've seen mindless versions, especially when if a ritual goes awry or Ganondorf is not in control. So I think Calamity Ganon is, if it is made of what we're seeing, then it took a long time for there to be enough of this to make it together to form Calamity Ganon. As we know, the Calamity happened 10,000 years ago. The sealing of Ganondorf took way long before that. So it's possible in that time, from the sealing to the first Calamity, that there somehow was enough of this malice around him to form and make its way to the surface. And that's all it takes, is a little bit by little bit, and then suddenly it attracts more. And but the reason why it was a mindless beast and didn't really represent anything is because Ganondorf wasn't in control. He was sealed. His heart was sealed. His magic was sealed. His brain wasn't functioning like it should because he was essentially dead. Not dead, but in stasis. He didn't have control. And that's why when Tears of the Kingdom, when you see Phantom Ganon or Puppet Zelda, they're a lot more intelligent. They're a lot stronger because he's in control. He is able to feed them power. Which is a shame. We don't get to fight Phantom Zelda, which would have been really cool, or Puppet Zelda. She just kind of lures us around and, I want to show you something. And then she turns the throne room back, but we never actually fight her, which would have been a real cool fight. But yeah, to answer the question with Ganon and Calamity Ganon, I think they are just the same entity. It's just Calamity Ganon was formed over a lot more time because it's it's gonna take a lot of time for this to become Calamity Ganon. As for the divine beasts, again, they have hiding places. You know, I don't think you want those things walking around all the time. But as for the shrines, that's really what I can't answer. You know, the only explanation was for some reason the Sheikah went around and dismantled them. I don't know why, since they're meant to test the hero. Since the hero had been tested, I guess they assume, oh, well, don't need any more heroes now. You know, we don't need to test anyone. So, but then there's also the lack of guardians. But again, people seem to forget that Tears of the Kingdom happens, what, like 4 to 6 years after Breath of the Wild? So those guardians, knowing full well that they could easily be corrupted, they could have been broken down. Their parts could have been recycled to do something. I mean, look at the claws and everything that come out in the towers that you know, with the Link and everything before they shoot him up. They could have been the things for, you know, the legs and everything from the Guardians could have easily been repurposed for these, you know. So it's possible they might have just been repurposed, you know, broken down. Their parts were used, and the cores and everything we could have been used for something else. Because it's like, okay, well, we see the downfall of the Guardians. You know, great idea, but easily corruptible. So I think the Sheikah just broke them down, went around Hyrule, and just kind of recycled. See, even Hyrule does their part by recycling. As for the shrines, we know that they rise out of the ground, so maybe they're just... It's like, well, we go underground. Yeah, we do, but we don't know how far they're going, and just... the underground still doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know, the depth and how far we're actually... Like, we see some places how far we're going down, but, you know, that's because there's giant holes there. So the shrines could easily be hiding in a place where we can't jump down into the depths, where there is still earth blocking. So, I mean, it's possible the shrines are just underground, where they rise up again. Possible that she could just dismantle them like they did the Guardians. The Divine Beasts are just kind of hiding. There's no need for them to be around right now. Which is like, oh, well, then why didn't they come out with Ganondorf and blah, blah. They were corrupted by Calamity Ganon. I don't think it'd be a very smart idea to use them against Ganondorf, who could easily corrupt them. So, I think they might have been put out of commission, or they're just hiding, or whatever, but... And as I said, for Calamity Ganon, because of how mindless it was, and how it wasn't really all there, clearly Ganondorf wasn't in control. So it was just what they told us. It was just his hatred and malice just forming over however many thousands of years it took. So, but thank you, Gilberto. Now, actually, as for the Shrine of Resurrection, I can't really explain that. I guess maybe they just want to renovate it, or just feel like they don't need it. I don't know about that one. I guess they feel because the Shrine of Resurrection is also Sheikah Tech, they see how easily Sheikah Tech is corrupted. Divine Beast, Sheikah Tech, corrupted. Guardians, Sheikah Tech. The last thing they need is the Shrine of Resurrection with the hero being corrupted. Because then you're not going to get a hero. You're going to get a freaking villain. Because that Shrine of Resurrection is going to be pumping that evil and malice and everything into him. So, honestly, it's probably best that they got rid of it. Because it'll be a resurrection, but of a villain. Which, actually, that could make a really good story. But, yeah, thanks for the comment, and hopefully maybe things cleared up a little bit. Um, like I said, this is why the placement doesn't make sense. People say it does, but so many things just still don't make sense. But hopefully I did my best to kind of answer things as well as possible. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.